Okay, seventh graders, today we're looking at Chapter 8, Section 3, Changing the Constitution. The name actually we're going to use when we talk about changing the Constitution is amending the Constitution. Amending or changing the Constitution. First vocab word that we're going to see are civil rights. A citizen's privileges, rights, and freedoms. Civil rights are a citizen's privileges, rights, and freedoms. There are additional vocab terms from this section. We've got First Amendment, Second Amendment, incriminate, Civil War amendments, 19th Amendment, and 26th Amendment. Each of those are in addition to civil rights, and you can find those on your Quizlet deck, and you can also find them on your Google Classroom stream. So let's hop right into changing or amending the Constitution. The writers or framers, not the farmers, some of them were farmers, but the word is framers. The writers or the framers of the Constitution knew that the world might change and that the Constitution should change with it. But the framers did not want the process to be an easy one. Written changes to the Constitution are called amendments. Written changes to the Constitution are called amendments. And the process of amending the Constitution is complex and may take months or even years to complete. It is not easy. As I've said in class, there have been thousands in the 240 years roughly of our republic, 230 years, excuse me, there have been thousands of proposals to change the Constitution, but only 27 times has our Constitution been amended. 27 times out of potentially thousands of proposals. So it's not an easy process, nor was it intended to be an easy process. An amendment may be proposed using two methods. It may be proposed by 2/3 of both the House and the Senate, or by a national convention called by Congress at the request of 2/3 of the state legislatures. So again, let's talk about that briefly for a second. There are two ways an amendment can be proposed. It may be proposed by 2/3 of both the House and the Senate, or by a national convention called by Congress at the request of 2/3 of the state legislatures. The second method has never been used. The first method has been used, but the second method has not been used yet. All right. An amendment may be ratified in two ways. Ratified, you might recall from an earlier lesson, Chapter 7, Section 4, ratification. Ratify means to approve. So an amendment may be approved in two ways. It may be approved by the legislatures of 3/4 of the states, or it may be approved by a special convention in 3/4 of the states. So again, let's look at that and address that specifically. An amendment can be approved in two ways. It may be approved by legislatures of 3/4 of the states, 3 out of every 4, or it may be approved by a special convention in 3/4 of the states. And when we're talking about 3/4 or 3/4 of the states, if there are 50 states, we are talking about 38 states or 38 state legislatures, minimum number of 38 would have to approve of an amendment in order for it to be added to the Constitution. So that is a difficult bar. 3/4 of the states with 100 states, or with 50 states rather, would mean at least 38 of 50 states would have to approve. Now, the first 10 amendments to the Constitution are called the Bill of Rights. Of course, you ladies and gentlemen knew that because we've talked about that a lot. The first 10 amendments are called the Bill of Rights. And the purpose of the Bill of Rights was to list the civil rights that may not be taken away by the government. We said that the Anti-Federalists at the convention wanted the Bill of Rights included because they wanted to make sure that everyone's rights were spelled out in the Constitution specifically. All right. More amendments after the Bill of Rights were added over the years to expand the rights of citizens. And we're going to look at the chart in a moment on that. Before we do that, though, one last point on this topic on the Bill of Rights. I mentioned earlier in this lesson that the Constitution has been amended only 27 times in the history of our country, 230 years since the Constitution was ratified. 27 times the Constitution was amended. 10 of those amendments appeared all at once with the Bill of Rights when the Bill of Rights was ratified. So in effect, since the Bill of Rights was ratified, our Constitution really has only been amended 17 separate times for a total of 27 with the 10 amendments in the Bill of Rights. Later amendments, and we'll be talking a lot about these later amendments the second half of the school year, later amendments such as the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments, also known as the Civil War Amendments, expanded democratic rights. They are going to speak to citizenship rights. They are going to speak to equality. They are going to speak to slavery. Okay, so the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments, which are going to be added to the Constitution around the time at the end of the Civil War, each of these amendments expanded democratic rights to more groups of people. These amendments abolished slavery, gave citizenship to former slaves, and guaranteed African American men the right to vote. 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments are vital. They are called the Civil War Amendments. These amendments, again, abolished slavery, gave citizenship to former slaves, and guaranteed African American men the right to vote. And in our chart today, we've got constitutional amendments and what they guarantee. It gives on the left-hand side of the chart, it gives the number of the amendment, the First Amendment, and it spells out that the First Amendment guarantees individual freedoms such as speech. Not the only one, okay? Not the only protection, the First Amendment. It actually protects 5 rights: the right to freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of the press, the right to assemble peacefully, and the right to petition your government to address a grievance you might have. So the First Amendment is actually 5 protections all in one. And as you go down the list in numerical order, it gives a little description of what that amendment specifically protects. So familiarize yourself with this and know that we have 27 amendments total in our Constitution, and these are some of the more important amendments, Amendments 1 through 10, the Civil War Amendments, the 14th and 15th Amendment, and the 19th and the 26th Amendment as well. 2 questions at the bottom of our worksheet today. First question is going to be based on our reading above. How may an amendment to the Constitution be proposed? How may an amendment be proposed? By proposed meaning suggested. We talk specifically about how an amendment may be proposed in this paragraph of the reading. So let's address question 1 right now. How may an amendment be proposed under our Constitution? And the chart question asks, what freedom does the 5th Amendment protect? You're going to refer to the chart above to answer what amendment, or what protection rather, what freedom does the 5th Amendment protect? When we return next class, we'll be looking at Chapter 8, Section 4, which is titled State and Local Governments. State and local governments. Thanks, and we'll see you guys at our next class.